I'm Brian Deaton, the lead GIS coordinator for the National Trails Office, and also presenting with me today is Chad Innes, the other GIS specialist for the office. So what we'll do today is just go through a National Trails intro, what the purpose of the app is, the type of assets that are recorded with the app, some discussion of safety, cultural resources, and then how to get the ArcGIS Online account, looking at the Survey123 app we use to download or to record the waysides or signs, how to download and install the app, how to access the survey, do a demo, and then go over any questions that you all have. And so Chad and I work for the National Trails Office, and our office administers 10 National Historic Trails, including the California Mormon Pioneer, Oregon Pony Express, and the Santa Fe National Historic Trails. And I've specifically mentioned those because you'll potentially be recording those locations, and we potentially have members of other associations on the call right now. So and then our offices are in Santa Fe, New Mexico, Salt Lake City, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. So since we administer the trails and do not manage the land that the National Historic Trails are located on, we're always seeking ways to enhance partnerships through collaboration. That's essential to accomplish the mission of identifying and developing and promoting the National Historic Trails. And so an essential way of enhancing our partnerships is through the sharing of our spatial data and empowering our partners through GIS, through Geographic Information Systems. So the National Historic Trail Wayside Sign Inventory is a crucial way to empower the association and assist our office.
So we are actually known as the Resource Information Management Team. And we are comprised of Brian, who's been presenting, myself. I'm Chad Ennis, and we have a new ACE fellow with us, Cassidy. She works with Brian in the Santa Fe office. I'm out of the Salt Lake City office. Together, we manage the required mapping for NTIR staff and partner organizations, as well as data acquisition and management for all of the NTIR Trails data. So one of the main focuses of the NTIR office is to make Trails data and history freely accessible and available to the public. The National Historic Trails Viewer, which you can see here, is one of the easiest and quickest ways for partners and the public to access Trails data. Accessed either through the NPS website or directly through the Esri ArcGIS online website, the Trails Viewer is a fully interactive map that displays our Trails data hosted by Esri. Using the map viewer allows you to view the designated alignments of all 10 of our historic trails and the Route 66 Corridor Preservation Program, which is also administered by NTIR. So the NTIR office assists partners like the Oregon California Trails Association, land managers in other jurisdictions to develop signing and interpretation across the trail. Using Survey123, another Esri product, we are able to empower partners who are already out on the trail to help document where these assets are. This benefits our office as we receive more frequent updates to the condition and location of trail waysides and signs. Additionally, it benefits partner organizations like the association by creating a direct way for partners to contribute and stay involved in the mapping of trails and trail-related resources. A great example of this collaboration benefiting both parties is when partners use Survey123 to report the condition of waysides and signage. By updating our office on the condition of these resources, we can better prioritize updates and replacement of damaged resources. So what is the purpose and why is this important? Well, this project provides an overview of the wayside and signing efforts our office has conducted through the decades. In some cases, neither our office nor our partners have a record of certain projects along the trail. So by utilizing the survey, we can start to fill in some of the blanks, including how many assets are there, what is their condition, and do they need replacement? Where are they located? This knowledge will allow the interpretation team and the design and development team to prioritize future waysides and signing efforts.
And this really goes back to how, since we don't manage the land, whenever we work with our partners, our land manager partners, whether it's private, state, county, federal, with them for signage or for interpretation, waysides, we give that to them, and then they're the ones that they own that sign, they own that wayside. So that's why in some cases there isn't really a record of that asset, because we don't own it anymore once we hand it off.
So it's easy to identify assets that the office has supported because they will most likely include the logo of the trail or trails they are associated with. These triangular logos are easily identifiable from a distance. They include interpretive waysides, directional signage, interpretive facilities, or any other signs displaying the logo. And you can see some examples here in this slide. So waysides are one of the most common ways for the public to interact with historic trails and their resources. They help us visualize the past in places where evidence of the trails remain, but may no longer be evident to the untrained eye. They help add important historical context to significant sites along the way. As one of our most common assets, waysides can be made from several different materials and sizes and can be found in various conditions depending on the elements and the traffic they receive. Some of the most common issues that we come across when reviewing waysides for replacement are vandalism or intentional damage, or fading and cracks caused by exposure to the elements. Waysides are either upright or low profile, and each wayside panel is a separate recording within the Survey123 app. That last statement means that sometimes you'll see these waysides grouped together and included on the same structure, but each one should be recorded separately, even if they're built together. The National Trails Office has 3 different types of signage we use to mark the NHTs: road signs, pedestrian signs, and site ID signs. The newest family of road signs shown on this slide were designed to follow federal highway standards and meet all MUTCD requirements. Pedestrian signs mark the historic route or a close approximation of the route of the NHTs and where they coincide with modern day trails. These signs can be found anywhere there is opportunity for the public to walk, bike, and or ride along the trails in both urban and rural settings. Road signs mark the historic route and historic crossing locations of the NHTs and where they coincide with modern roads. Road signs also direct the public to specific NHT-related sites. Some of the older road sign types you might see installed along roadways include the auto tour route signs. These signs were used in the past to mark an all-weather route that was in close approximate location to the NHTs. We no longer use this sign type, but it will still be important to survey these signs if you come across them in the field. We're on the site ID ones, I believe.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. There we go. So site ID signs seen here are for those locations where the public can learn and experience the trails, such as Gardner Junction.
All right, thanks, Chad. So another one of our asset types that will be recorded are facility exhibits. And so these are museums or visitor centers, interpretive materials that display the National Historic Trail logo, or it's an exhibit that's been funded by our office. So here's an example of the Santa Fe Trail in Las Vegas, New Mexico, that there's an exhibit that was funded by the NPS and displays the Santa Fe National Historic Trail logo. So that's an example of one of those. And so anytime you have one of the facility exhibits, you'll actually take a point outside of the facility and then just get a photo of the exhibit on the inside. There are also there may be other signs out there that display the NHT logo. We're interested in knowing about these also. These are signs that are not part of the NPS family of signs, but they're still using the logo of the National Historic Trail, and it doesn't fit within like being a wayside, a road or pedestrian sign or a facility exhibit. So here you can see some examples of those, and some kind of different examples, like here in Idaho, where it was the logo in this rest area stop, and the logo is actually gone, but you knew it was there. And then like the National Frontier Trails Museum, where you can see they're using the logos of the NHTs. That would be another example of just kind of different ways that the NHTs are being used. I want to make sure we kind of know about that. See if in the future maybe there's the possibility of having it that they're using one of the official like site ID signs. So the biggest thing to think about with using this app to go out and record these National Historic Trails, waysides, and signs is safety. You want to make sure that you're fully aware of your surroundings and that you're ensuring your safety, because recording these is not as important as your safety. We need, if there's any issue or there's a question of safety, we want to make sure that you're not risking your health, your safety to go out and collect these waysides or signs. We advise that anyone going out and recording, specifically like road signs, should have 2 people doing that work, one person driving, the other person recording. We updated the application to simplify the process of recording road signs, to just make it that you just click a button, it records your location, and then you're just pretty much taking the photo and saying what state it's in, making it as fast as possible for the road sign collection. Yeah, so again, don't record any location where you feel like your safety is in jeopardy. Always make sure there's adequate space for you whenever you're recording a road sign. There's adequate space on the shoulder of the road to fully get off the road to record that sign. So then always look out for wildlife and make sure that you're not accessing, it shouldn't come up with this, but make sure you're not accessing any property without necessary permissions or permits, and coordinate with local land managers if there isn't an issue, but there shouldn't be an issue with just these public signs and waysides. So cultural resources and personally identifiable information. So with the app, we're only recording waysides and signs for the National Historic Trails. So we don't want to collect any cultural resource data like trail trace or swale, artifacts, inscriptions, other sensitive archaeological site information. ArcGIS Online that we use to host this data for the asset inventory, for the wayside sign inventory, doesn't have the proper security for sensitive data. And then we also want to make sure you're not entering any personally identifiable information, meaning names, addresses, telephone numbers, personal emails, things of that nature into like any of the fields, or like the comment field. Don't put anything like that in there. We're prohibited from having personally identifiable information in the data. So to be able to start using the application and go out and record, what you'll need to do is send myself and Chad an email requesting to join the effort, to join the NHT Wayside Sign Inventory, and then CC the Trail Association point of contact, the association manager in that case. For the Oregon California Trails Association, it's Travis Boley. So just CC him on it, and then we can just double check, make sure that you're a member of the association, because that's one of the requirements, that you have to be a member of an association that has some sort of agreement with the National Trails Office. So whenever you do that, we'll put in the request to have your account created, and then you'll just need to check your email, the inbox and the spam for an email about an ArcGIS Online account setup. And so you'll have 7 days to respond to that email. And then once you get that email, you'll be able to set up your profile and take the acceptable use policy training, and you can see an image of that. And then you'll be able to upload the certificate you get from that to ArcGIS Online. And what I just kind of went over, I send individual emails out to the users that are wanting to start using the app. So I'll send specific instructions on everything I kind of went over there. And if there's ever any question, always feel free to reach out to Chad and I, and we'll help go over any of the process that you're having an issue with. Because really, the hardest part of this app, to use on your phone or your tablet. Make sure to mute yourself. We're getting some echo. Is the actual just getting signed up, because that's the hardest part of working with this app, is just getting signed into the account.
This is a close, that would be right next to the door this way.
Can you mute your microphone, please?
That way.
Okay, so once you have a partner account, you'll be able to access the National Trails Asset Inventory group on ArcGIS Online. And within this group, there's a training PDF that you can view and download, a training video that you can download, the asset inventory or the wayside sign inventory flyer. That'll give some kind of basic information about this. You'll be able to view the web map, so you can view where other people have recorded waysides and signs. And so you'd specifically want to look at this before, maybe the day before or the morning before you go out into the field, just to make sure you're not going to duplicate efforts. Because you don't want to go out in the field and be recording things that have already been recorded, within the relatively recent past, unless there's been some big change in the condition of that wayside or sign. You don't want to re-record something somebody's already recorded, and we don't want to waste your time. Then you'll also be able to look at the dashboard app. And so the Wayside Sign Inventory dashboard app will let you get specific information and look at images of the waysides in a quicker way than you can within just the web map. And you'll get an update on what the total number of recordings are. Right now, there's 1,049 that have been recorded across our 10 National Historic Trails we administer. You can get breakdowns by asset type within the states, asset type recordings within the states, and then recordings by user. You can see how many you recorded, compare yourself to your friends that are other members of the association, see who's got the most. And so you can zoom into different areas, and then using the select button, select different waysides and signs, and look at the information presented by them. And so the success so far, and this is still the dashboard, this is just another one of the charts you can access through the dashboard. So you can see on the California National Historic Trail, Cali, there's 333 waysides or signs that have been recorded along like the Oregon National Historic Trail. There's 214. Along Santa Fe, there's 435, and you can break those down further. So we've had a lot of success since rolling this out as a pilot in 2020, but there's still gaps out there. There's certain states that have a lot of recordings and some that don't. So we're looking for being able to pick up those gaps. We've been able to bring some older data in, like Dave Welch and Oregon Association members, Oregon State Association members did a lot of work back in 2014s and recorded a bunch of the waysides and signs then. So I was able to import that data into the database. So if there is data that's been recorded through spreadsheets or Access database or some other method, and we don't want to have to redo that, let me know and we can look at importing that information. So here's the actual application, the Survey123 application. It's an Esri application. It's you can use it on your phone or your smartphone or your tablet. I would suggest using it on a tablet. It's easier to see on a tablet, but use whatever you have. And so it's a form-centric mobile data gathering application. And it's similar to like filling out a fillable PDF. It's really user-friendly. It's dynamic, so the questions change as your selections change, so you can actually see the video of the application that's going right now while I'm talking, and see how the app changes whenever you make certain selections. And you can look at certain images for more information. And so the app automatically gets your location whenever you hit the collect button on the app. And so it's using the integrated GPS, the built-in GPS that your phone or your tablet has. And so it doesn't matter if you have cellular connection or internet connectivity, you don't need it to go out and record things. Whenever you get back to where you have cellular connection or you have Wi-Fi, then you can submit what you've recorded. And so how you download the app for your Apple device, your iOS device, you go to the iTunes App Store and then download Survey123. If you have an Android device, you go to the Google Play Store and download it from there. So signing in, you'll sign in using the username and password you are given and you create whenever you send us an email to have your account created. And your username will be your first initial and your last name followed by _partner. And partners have to change every 60 days. And so that's new. So I would make sure to just keep track of that password in some manner. Have it written down in some manner so then you can remember whenever you change it. And so you don't forget and have to go through the hassle of getting your password renewed. So then once you have the app downloaded and you sign in, then you'll be able to go to where you can download the form, the actual Our Survey form for this work, for the Wayside Sign Inventory. And so you'll put in NHT Asset Inventory and it'll appear in the list. Only download that one. That'll be the only one you'll need. And then once you've downloaded it, here in the application, you'll see NHT Asset Inventory form, and you'll just be able to click on that one. You won't have all these, like there's 6 other forms there I'm showing in mine. You won't have that. You'll just have the one. And so you'll be able to click on that and then access go into the form. And whenever you're out in the field at your wayside or sign, you're going to record. Standing next to it, you'll hit collect, and that'll open the form up and you can start inputting the information for that specific wayside or sign. And so just a reminder that the application, it does use a lot of battery power. So if you're hiking between one location to another for a good amount of time, or driving from one location to another to record assets, I'd encourage you to close out the app once you're done recording your asset at a specific location. Close it out, then travel to your next location, because it's constantly using your GPS and getting your location. So then right as when you hit collect, it'll have your coordinates. So it's using a lot of battery power doing that. So it's probably best to close it out in between, just so you don't run out of battery power while you're out in the field or before you can charge your phone or your tablet in your car or back at home again. So now I'll do a quick demo, and just to give you a better idea of how it works, how everything works. Okay, so let's pretend we're out in the field and we've got our tablet or our phone with the application, and we're there at this wayside that we want to record. That is a National Historic Trail wayside, and so then we turn on the application, sign in, and get to this screen because we already downloaded the form. And so this is the one we want, the NHT asset inventory. And let me know if anybody can't see the app and the wayside. And so you click on the form, and then you go to collect. And so once you come in here, it'll just give you some basic information about collecting the about not crossing onto private land unless you've got permission, and don't collect cultural resources. Some of the stuff that we've already gone over. So then you'll hit collect while you're standing next to your sign that you want to record. So in this case, so you'll look at the wayside, whatever the sign is. And so this is a easy to see. So here's this wayside. And so it's California, Oregon. And you'll just be able to click these hit these with your finger on your tablet or your phone. Pioneer. And so then you go on to interpretation sign type after you put in the National Historic Trail that's indicated on it. So in this case, it's a wayside. Let's say we just wanted to look at some examples of waysides so you can see an example of wayside and a description of what it is. So then you click wayside, and you see that the form just changed to reflect that you changed what you're recording. So then you'll put in the topic. Fate of the American bison. And then this one, then you'll put in what type of wayside is. And it's kind of hard to tell from this photo, but it's a low profile one. And so the low profile are the slanted waysides rather than the upright. And then you go on to what the sign type and material, and sometimes it can be difficult to tell what it is. Usually the interpreters with our office, the interpretive specialists with our office, they're the ones that are the experts. But just make your best guess. A lot of the new ones will be laminate. A lot of the old ones will be fiberglass, and you'll be able to see those fiberglass fibers on the wayside. I can't really tell what this one is from the photo. Chad recorded this one a few months last year, so he might remember. But we'll just put fiberglass and keep moving on. And then you'll put in the dimensions, and so you've got a drop down with the dimensions. And so it might be a good thing to take a tape measure with you, or you can just eyeball it, but many of the kind of like standard size of these kind of upright waist sides are 36 inches by 24. So we'll put that in. And then if you don't see the size, then you can put in other, and then you can manually put in, what the size of that waist side is. Then you want to look at what the base material is. So in most cases it'll be metal. And then what the condition is. Look at the sign. Is it poor or damaged? Is it totally gone? Is it missing? There's just like the wayside frame is there, but the wayside isn't there. You'd still record that, if you knew that was an NHT wayside that was there. Or is there, has it been vandalized? And that's why it's poor damage. So, or is it it's just been weathered, and so there's like, bits of it that have come off. Or is there obsolete or incorrect information? Is something wrong with the text that doesn't accurately reflect the National Historic Trail? Is there new information that we know about since the wayside was created and installed? Is the map incorrect on the wayside? I noticed that every once in a while where a map is actually incorrect on the wayside. So those sorts of information. So, in this case, we just put poor damage since there's this damage to the panel. And then we'd, type that up, type in information about how it's damaged, or any other information that hasn't been captured through the different questions. So then you put what state it is. And then you can just use the drop down to indicate what the state is. And then if you know when the asset was installed, you can indicate that, but pretty much 99% of the time, nobody's going to know when the asset was installed. So don't worry about knowing that. Then land ownership. If you do know the land ownership, indicate that. Otherwise, just say unknown. Don't worry about it too much. We can get that information on our side too. And then once you've done that, then you'll take a photo like this of just a close-up of the panel itself. So we can see, read the text, see what images are on it, see what maps are on it. And then you'll take a photo that's of the entire structure and kind of give an idea of what the surrounding of the wayside or sign looks like. And then, so down here is location. And so when you're doing this on your tablet or your phone, it'll immediately have your coordinates down here. And so because I'm showing you this on the app on my laptop computer, it's not getting coordinates. So it's not doing anything. But whenever you do it on your tablet or your phone, it'll immediately show down here. And if for some reason you weren't as close as you should have been when you hit collect, you can hit this little crosshair here and it'll get your coordinates again. And so you can do that if you need to get the coordinates again.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Just a question about the photograph. Does the program automatically link to whatever photographic program is on my phone or my tablet, or do I have to then move it from the file into the program?
No. So whenever you first open, and that's a good thing to bring up, because whenever you first open the app, it'll like ask, can Survey123 use your location? You want to say yes, because then it can access your GPS. It'll also ask if it can access your camera, and you want to say yes.
Okay.
So then whenever you hit the camera button, it'll open your camera on your device, And then you'll be able to
Sweet.
take the photos
Sweet.
and it'll automatically be doing everything
Yeah.
automatically. So you don't have to
That's-
worry about moving
Yeah.
anything.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that clarification. It's good information to have. And then, another thing you can also do is if you're out in the field and it's like really hot or it's really cold or something that you just want to go out, get the location of whatever the wayside or sign is, and then get back in your car. Well, you can do that. If you hit collect right next to the sign, it's gotten your coordinates. Take your photos, and then you could go back to your vehicle and fill out the other information if you want to do that, just to make it easier to collect data. So once you're done, then you would hit this check mark down in the bottom, and then you would go to save an outbox when you're out in the field. And so that'll save it to your outbox here. And then once you get back from being out in the field and you have Wi-Fi connectivity, then you can come back in and actually hit send and push those up to the database. Then they'll be in the data. They'll be in the web map in the dashboard, and you can look at them. If you collect a location and you realize later, oh, I should have changed, I didn't input something correctly. You can come into your outbox and click on it, and you can edit that survey. You can come back in and hit, change it to whatever you need. You put in the title incorrectly, change whatever you need, hit the check mark again, save in the outbox, and then it'll be there for you. If you're out in the field and you hit the check mark and you go, oh, I didn't fill everything out, just hit continue this survey. So yeah, let's save an outbox, and then you come back to the outbox. And then once you're done, everything's good, then you'd hit send, and it'll send that recording back in. If you have multiple, it'll send them all in at once. If you have sent something in and then you realize, oh, I should have changed something about that asset, you can actually, the ones you send from that specific device, you can edit those entries later on at any point, as long as it's the same device. So that's why I would suggest using one device only for doing this work, because then you have everything that you've sent in. And if you need to edit something later, you can. So these are all the ones that have been sent. You could come back in, and that's if you want to just delete it. Don't do that. Click on it and go edit and resend. And then it'll load it back up. You can edit, hit the check mark. You can save it in the outbox, or you can, whenever you'd be doing this, you'd most likely be doing it back in your at home. But you can see if you were out in the field, you could do it, save in outbox, and then you would send it, and it would update whatever you updated. So there's multiple times where you could edit what you've done out in the field once you get back from the field, or even after you've submitted it. But you won't be able to do it on any other device. So you can only access those you submitted and edited, and edit those submissions for that specific device. So try to do it only on one, and that'll make it easier to kind of access and utilize. So I could go over a couple like different scenarios for recording. So here we've got a California and Pony Express road sign, a crossing sign. So You click California Pony Express, then you click on NPS trail sign. And so if you wanted to look at some examples of those, you could see the image, and then click back, NPS trail sign, and then you'd click road. And there we go. Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay there. And then you'd see how it's totally changed the form because we streamlined it for any road signs to make it that it's you fill out the least amount possible to make it as fast as possible and record those road signs so you're not in danger. So you put the state, and it'll automatically have the date you're recording it. So then you click to take the photo of the sign, and this would be just the entire structure, the kind of general area, and then your location will be automatically recorded. And so again, you could use a buddy system doing this sort of work. Have one person driving, have one person recording, and then you can just stop along the road and record it really fast and keep going. And then you hit the check button to submit it or to put it to your outbox. And then whenever you got back from the field, you could submit it. So
Would you check the pedestrian sign for us so we can see what that looks like? The samples there, please.
Yeah. Oh, and here I should have clicked this. So then you can see like some of the examples of the family of road signs.
Oh, okay.
Of the different types.
Yeah, thank you.
And then whenever you change it to pedestrian, it's the same thing, just as you record the state and the structure. If it's a site ID sign, then it'll have the condition options and the state and when it was installed, if you know that, and the land ownership, and then being able to take the two different photos. So then like here's a different example of a wayside. You may see certain waysides that have like the older NHT logo for like the Oregon National Historic Trail. So look out for that too. But you'll just put the information that's specific to that one. Like in this case, it's a metal sign, and you fill out the information. And so it's just the same, even if it's a different kind of looking wayside that has the NHT logo, or has been specifically funded by the National Park Service. So let's see. Like here's an example of a site ID sign, and you just go through the same process for this. So in this case, even though these are like two different signs, you would treat this as like one submission. So then like facility exhibits, there's some images of kind of some facility exhibits, even though that one I showed in the presentation is a better one. And you just, you can see how the form changed again. So you'd input the topic or title of the exhibit, what the facility name is, what that facility address is, any comments, what the state is. If you knew when that exhibit was put on display, put that in. But again, most likely you're not going to know that. Don't worry about it. What the land ownership is of that facility exhibit, the visitor center or the museum. And then you'll be able to take a photo of the specific exhibit. You'll take that photo inside, and then you'll take a photo outside of the building for that museum or visitor center. And then you want to make sure you're getting the location outside too, because if you try to get that coordinate location inside, it won't work. So you'll need to go, whenever you go outside to take that entire structure photo, just re-click on the little crosshairs here to get your coordinates again. Then you'll get a good location for where that museum or facility, that visitor center is. Then if it's other, these are going to be signs that include the National Historic Trails sign logo, that doesn't fit within these waysides, road or pedestrian signs, or site ID signs, or facility exhibit types. So when I showed some examples of those, usually they're just kind of random uses of the National Historic Trail that don't fit into those. So you'll record those. If there's a title, description, you can input that. Or you can input a description of what this other asset type is, what the material that it's made of, what if it's on a post, what the post type is, what the base material is, what the condition is, and any other comments about the condition or about that specific type of other asset. So like in the case of that rest area stop in Idaho where the NHT logo was totally missing, but I knew that's what was there, then you'd put in that sort of information. And then the land ownership, and you'd have a photo of just like a close-up of whatever that sign is, and then a photo of the entire kind of structure. And then that location will be gathered immediately. So unless you just need to get your coordinates again to make sure you are right up where that other sign is, then you'll need to click there. And so then you'll hit the check mark and you'll go to save an outbox. Then you'll be able to go to your outbox once you got back from the field. And then I always want to click those three buttons, but don't do that and accidentally delete it. Then if you need to edit it, you can edit it. Otherwise, you just hit send and it'll be submitted into the system. And then once you submit it into the system, you'll be able to then see it within the dashboard, if it'll load up again. So then you'll be able to, if it's like, you can click the selector and then select and see like what was recorded out here.
So Brian, if we're out there and we see something and we're like, oh, it's already in here, we look at it this way in the dashboard and the condition has changed, what do we do?
So, so if the condition has changed, if it's one that you've recorded, then you could actually go back into what you recorded and edit it. If it's, and this question specific, the answer to this question is specific to the association members. There's some other avenues that we have with other staff of the National Trails, but yeah, if it's one that you've recorded, then you, with that same device, then you could actually go in and edit it within your device. If it isn't, then you can go through the web map and edit, but that's a little bit more difficult to do. So what I would suggest would be to just re-record the asset with that new information, new photos. Because what it's going to be is that, yeah, you're recording like an update to that condition. So you want new photos. And then we can just, and then you can send Chad and I an email to let us know that you've updated the asset and had to re-record it. And then we can just archive that earlier recording. There is a way to have it that you could more easily record past recordings that you didn't do on your specific device. But to keep this as simple as possible, that just isn't, there isn't a way to do that now. So we just have to re-record the asset, the waysider sign, if the condition has changed and you didn't record that one. So that's the presentation. So if anybody has any questions or comments, or if you want me or Chad to show something specifically, we can do that. Here you'll see my contact information, my email, and Chad's email. And so you can, if you're interested in this great opportunity to assist the office and help future signing to notify the public that they're along the NHT, or to educate the public about the NHT, please let us know. You know, the more people we have involved, the quicker we're able to get all of this data and to identify these needs that we have for replacement or for future development of interpretive waysides or signing along the trails. So please,
thank you so
feel free-
much. Thank you so much for doing this, Brian. I really appreciate it. This has been really helpful and really clear. It's got me kind of excited about doing it. So way good.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We're glad to be able to present this as much as possible to get people interested. You know, we're available to present to other individual chapters. So please reach out if you have a need to want to let your specific chapter know about the inventory effort.
I would highly recommend, if you plan on doing this, go ahead and download that app from your store now. And while the idea is still fresh, and reach out to Brian and me, go ahead and get yourself registered, get this set up. We are going to post, I recorded this, we will post this to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to share this with your chapters as an easy training to get other people on your team. Any other questions?
I have one. This is Laura Anderson. Last time I understood that the things that we were recording were a little bit broader than I'm understanding this time. Has that changed? Or
No, it hasn't changed. So anybody that was involved with the Wyoming interpretation planning inventory, that's a whole separate inventory effort. So it's actually its own separate form. So
okay.
You can do both of them, but just know that one is more is a more inclusive recording, whereas the NHT wayside sign inventory is specifically just to the National Historic Trail wayside signs and other signs, whereas that Wyoming interpretation planning inventory recording that's being done in conjunction with Wyoming State Parks and the BLM, that is also including things, some signs that are not officially approved and funded by the National Trails Office.
Okay, that, I was getting confused, so, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're like totally separate. So if you do both of them, you'll actually have two, you'll have two. So
Two of
you'll
those
have,
things.
yeah, you'll have both of these.
Okay,
So the Wyoming people that are on this call, just know that if you're involved in that effort, you'll have your own separate form. And I will actually be transferring, the necessary data from like the Wyoming NHT asset inventory into the NHT asset inventory. So, if you're just focusing on Wyoming for the Wyoming NHT asset inventory, then you don't even need to worry about doing the main one, because I can
Yeah.
just pull the data that you created for the other one that applies for the general National Historic Asset Inventory and pull it over. But if you're like going outside of Wyoming and you want to record things, then I'd say you should be doing that within just the NHT asset inventory.
okay, and I live in Utah, so I'll be doing both,
Okay.
hopefully.
There was a question in a chat about what is the name of this app. If you didn't catch that, it's Survey123. That's what you search for in your app store.
Yeah. Yep. Through either, iTunes or Google Play.
Any other questions? Well, Brian and Chad, thank you very much for this very informative and very needed primer on how to use this. I am working with the Nebraska chapter to go up there, I think October 12th. We're going to do an in-person training in the Omaha Council Bluffs area. I'm working with the chapter president, Harlan Cipher, and the folks at the winter quarters. That's where we're going to rendezvous and start there. And we're going to get the people in at least the greater Omaha area trained really well that day.
That will be great, because if you notice, we've got a lot of missing coverage in Nebraska. So getting people from Nebraska involved will be really useful. So thank you. And let me know, please reach out to Chad and I for any questions you have. Let me know if you have any issues out in the field. We're glad to assist. Let me know if there's any other future training opportunities. And just a reminder that that acceptable use policy training that the NPS has you do is really over the top for what you all are doing, but unfortunately you have to do it. So I'll send instructions for how to do that training and the easiest way to do it, but you'll just have to do like some word searches and some in a PDF, and then select the multiple choice. And if you keep getting it wrong, instead of sitting there getting angry about it, just send me an email and be like, I keep getting this question wrong. Can you tell me what the answer is? And I'll give you the answer. So, all right. Well, thank you again. Feel free to, reach out to Chad and I if you need any assistance.
Do one of you live here in Utah?
Yeah,
I do.
Chad is in the Salt Lake City office.
Okay, because I think I need to sit down with somebody and actually have them help me through the process. I'm not as good on computers as I would like to be. So I will get a hold of him.
Yeah. Just send us or him an email and we can schedule that.
Yep.
Thank you,
Okay.
Laura.
Okay, see you.
All right,
Bye.
thanks, Travis.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.